looking for manpower with a specific skill set. So I'm just here to let you know what are the opportunity you guys have. Being trained in India, still you can get into the UK with certain experience or acquiring some additional skill sets, and it is possible because UK came out of European Union after Brexit. So especially Indian manpower is more sought of in the UK, right? So that's my agenda to let you know. Also, I would like to add this point because you can take me as an example. I've been trained, worked in India for long, then moved to UK, got additional skill set, fueled my research skill set, are able to work in a global university where we are ranked in US, according to US ranking, we are top 200, right, in the world. So this is possible for you guys to put your effort, focused effort on specific skill sets to become a global global employee for MNC employees, right? So that's an idea to present here to you. I have few slides to take you through what are the skill sets companies are looking for from the management graduates, and if you can get those skill sets, pretty much you will be hired by any Fortune 500 companies. I'm just looking for my slides. I have few kind of skill sets which I wanted to highlight to you, especially on innovation side, on analytics side, on technology side, how people as a management graduates can solve critical challenges what companies do have right now. So this is going to be highly informal, it's more interactive. If you feel you can't follow something, please stop me. You can ask me any questions with respect to the topic, with respect to job opportunities, or with respect to higher studies in the UK. I'm happy to answer. So until this gets set up, like, do you have any questions to start with? Do you want to ask any questions to me? So I'm going to talk about the skill set, what you need to become more kind of a global employees. If you have any specific questions in your mind, you can ask before we move on to the topic.
So all of you, whatever your questions are related to global opportunities, please feel free to ask.
So how many of you would like to work for a global employers like Google? Good. So I can see many hands, right? So good, fantastic. So why you want to work for global employers? Any kind of idea? What motivates you to work for a global employers? So you're getting MBA, PGDM, PG except from here. So you wanted to move to a global company. What is the motivation? That's really good. So I expected some other answer, but this is a good answer. So working with multiple culture challenges you have. So I thought people normally say, I want to get more pay. Okay, I wanted to go for a global employer, I want to get a more pay. So that's a default answer I used to get from students when we ask this.
And so that's why you want to get from a global company, employment opportunities and growth like Fortune 500 companies.
Okay. So yeah, you have, like, retention rate is very, very tricky in the companies. people, if they are not satisfied with the job, they move easily now. So the average retention rate for a company is 3 to 4 years. So now they are trying to see like how to offer a lot of benefits to employees so that they can make use of them to their fullest potential possible. So they are coming with a lot of, there is a lot of talk going on in terms of well-being, work-life balance, kind of career support, social support, freeness, freedom, fair and free freedom offered by companies. A lot of policies are enabling company to retain employees. Because nowadays the retention rate is a very, very tough thing for companies to do.
So what are the skills required to get a job in
Yeah, the first thing is mostly they look for entrepreneurial skill sets, how risk and innovative you are. Whether you have a cognitive skill sets, creative thinking, plus then they expect you need to have some kind of technology exposure, like recent emerging technology, blockchains, analysis skill sets, how you could crunch kind of like numbers or a text and give a story to a company. Okay, that is what they do. So, any other questions? Anybody is having any other question?
So, what kind of analytical skills that required in MNCs right now in today's life?
So that typically like they expect you to do mostly on text mining, kind of like you are able to do a lot of machine learning stuff. So if you can do predictive analytics, they're well sorted out. Especially if you see for blockchain, we have did a project to understand the demand. There is a huge demand starting from code level to strategic managing level. So there is a big vacuum there in terms of finding right talents for companies. The supply chain become more strategic right now. Previously it was like an operational level thing, but now it becomes strategic. So they expect supply chain graduates to have more on planning, kind of like tackling with technologies, handling multiple technology. So those things are expected from the supply chain graduates, especially on sustainability front, kind of like even the climate change. They wanted to deal with how to come up with new practices. Just a second. Sorry.
Here is a question.
Yeah.
Sir, in our introduction of about 20 minutes, how can we demonstrate our analytical skills?
Yeah, if you are a beginner, you mean, right? So if you are a beginner, only thing is through competence like showing the certifications what you had, and if you can get some kind of like internship experience with the companies where you can demonstrate that you could solve some of the challenges what they do have, whether at a team member level or if you can expose what you contributed in the team a bit during internship, that speaks for you in terms of considering you as an expert and you are capable of doing their work. Yeah.
What are the opportunities for Indian students who are completing their education from India?
So there are plenty of opportunities. It is irrespective where you complete your education, but you should demonstrate you are capable of doing their requirement, their job, their expectations. So if you can demonstrate in terms of certification in a specific skill, it could be analytics or it could be technology, recent technology, or if it could be kind of an internship with the Indian like companies, IT companies, or it could be Amazon kind of company or Google, wherever it is based in India. If you can demonstrate you are capable of doing something, then you will easily get a job. So now there is they are hiring a lot from India, from you. Those who are graduated in India, having some kind of experience or skill sets, they are easily hiring. So there are a lot of opportunities.
Sir?
Sir, which tools are now particularly used in UK for analytics?
So mostly they use R, Python and things like that. But now there are a lot of open source they call open graphical user interface tools, where you don't want to have any kind of coding knowledge. Only it is suitable if you're able to handle this graphical visual tools to analyze or predict things.
Sir, as a beginner, which type of tools do you use to study for getting a job in US?
Yeah, so mostly like people now, so data scientist is a hot topic in US. So if you have a right skill set, you will be given 5 years visa immediately without any job. So that is the Biden government's arrangement right now. So for that you need to have a kind of R, Python, open user interface, graphical tools, as well as Tableau, Power BI. If you could do handle with that, then there is a possibility for you to get a job.
So,
Yeah. So let me continue this, and then I will come back to you a little later. Yeah?
so how is the working environment there?
So once I'll try to answer your question, but it is more universal now. It is more global everywhere. Wherever you work in an MNC company, you have to deal with multiple cultural mindset people. They have to create different creative thinking. Communication is you have to articulate well what you think, and also now there are a lot of equality, diversity, inclusivity is picking up in all companies in terms of like harassment, bullying, all those things you need to take care.
Thank you, sir.
Your pointer? So to start with, to set up, like, you don't think that you are trying to study in Delhi in Lloyd Business School, but still, due to globalization, you have plenty of opportunity. So globalization is a key for all countries in 90s to make the world more efficient, to cluster according to the skill set, and to orient kind of like the manufacturing, or it could be services to specific countries, where India become like more talent production in terms of IT skill sets. Also BPO was very popular in 90s, 2000 kind of thing. So literally globalization was good, but now what, after this pandemic, COVID, not I would say, still we are in the pandemic. During COVID-19, people realized globalization is not a good. Okay? So we are highly interdependent. We are interconnected with certain countries. For example, most of the product that goes to the world, or it could be US, UK, all developed economies, is from China. So they are highly interdependent on China in terms of getting things. So they do a lot of good quality products. But now, globally, various countries, including UK, are thinking how to make locally. Like India, they do have a Make in India kind of program. Like in UK also, they have reshoring activities. They are trying to bring back all the skill sets to UK. They want to become more independent in terms of in all sectors. So they are trying to look how to make hybrid their supply chain. So they become more interdependent. Now they are trying to think how to make it, like when Trump was there, he said make in America, or made in America. People should feel proud of making in America. So that is what we call economic nationalism. They wanted to depend on their own country, not other country. But it is very hard to do right now. It will take a long time to do that, because we have like more exposed towards China in terms of manufacturing, in terms of pharmaceutical sector. 60% of API, whatever we use in drug, comes from China. The rest of the thing comes from India. So people did this for the major reason is cost. They wanted to do like save a lot of cost. They want to make the supply chains efficient, but it is not going to work anymore. So in every 4 years, there is going to be a lot of disasters. So now we are seeing one disaster, which the lead time was 2 years. But in every 4 years, there is going to be a man-made or a natural disaster, which is going to affect your supply chain. So where people again, they start thinking about how to make it local, not global. Okay? So my focus as a graduate, skill gap. What is a skill gap? I wanted to expose you, because we were trying to launch a lot of new courses in the UK. We do a lot of research. We also launched online courses in the UK. So for one kind of online, especially for supply chain and management programs, I was trying to do a bit of research to understand what is expected by the company. So we will try to do it for a year with multiple stakeholders. And what we found out is there's a global shortage with employees having a broad skill set. That's what I was mentioning today to your director and the group director about leadership, strategic thinking, innovation, high-level analytics capability. That is missing totally. So any employer, if you go to Indeed, Glassdoor, I don't know, whatever sites you look for, like job hunting websites. I don't know, in India, Nakuri.com, right? Nakuri.com, okay. So there in UK we use Glassdoor a lot, Indeed a lot, okay? So where they list all the skill sets what is needed. If you see, like mostly people, if you're going for a middle level manager or a senior manager or at a beginner, still they expect you to demonstrate something about what kind of leadership you did, leadership initiatives you have did when you are at a college. So whether you champion some kind of new initiative and what was its outcome. So if you can able to demonstrate. So that is, it could be for anything. It could be for a charity activity. It could be with an NGO. It could be with anything. If you can demonstrate you are capable of leading teams, that is needed. Then strategic thinking is how you execute, how you come out with new procedures, new plans, new policies which could benefit your kind of like initiative. And then what new you did, unique originality you had compared to previous others. For example, your director was saying that you guys were trying to solve ITC challenge, right? Whatever open challenge, hackathon, your team was able to solve some of the challenges. So those things are interesting to see. Also, there are a number of online, free online sites for you to get this analytics skill sets. Especially if you go to Coursera, MIT, MOOC, there are a number of open like source where you can, without paying any fees, you can develop your skills. So certification course. So those things would help a lot. So also the conventional mindset of managing things are changing. So you are not to be expected to be a conventional manager. You need to be more creative. You need to be a facilitator. You need to be like a team kind of a team-oriented person. So typically you need to have many skills. You are not, they're done. So things are changing right now. So from generic they move to specialist. Now from specialist they are moving again to generalist kind of approach. And you need to be very good at making decisions. From data, you can collect data from Twitter, or it could be from LinkedIn, or it could be from Facebook, social media platforms, as well as what is competitors are doing. If you can follow that and analyze and come up with some kind of good decision, that is going to be a great. And reskilling is happening quite often. So that's what I said at the beginning. People are moving from one company to another company in 4 years, where they think there is a good satisfaction. Besides pay package, now satisfaction, the freedom, the support, that is what young millennials are looking for in terms of management. Not pay packages, and now pay packages are not so attractive. So you can't pull people. Again, pay is an important thing, but it is not the only thing right now. So especially we did in Europe and US, what we have seen is we have seen technological skills are going to be increased 50%. What I mean by technological skill set is we are going to talk more about IoT, Internet of Things, or we are going to talk more about blockchains. It's not cryptocurrency, how we are going to use the technology for benefiting track and trace facility or for simplifying certain activities, things like that. So again, cognitive skill sets, like more creative, their expectation is going to increase by 30%, and how we are going to take new initiatives, leadership, entrepreneurship is expected to increase by 30%. So I got to know that you have been exposed to various elements of this, which would be helpful for you to become a global employees. Again, COVID-19 has exposed to different skill shortage in various fields, including management, technology side, etc. So again, there are still several grand challenges. If your skill set matches with these grand challenges, you will get a lot of job. So I have seen this from India kind of government website as well as UK. They do have an industrial strategy. UK industrial strategy. They list what skill sets they need every year. So what I can see is AI and data-driven economy, climate change, where UK want to become carbon neutral in 2030, India want to become carbon neutral in 2070. Okay? So still, there's a lot needs to be done. So if you can think along those lines in terms of becoming sustainability expert, then you have more opportunity. So sustainability, if you look at the sustainable development goals, they have 17 goals, including poverty alleviation, sustainable production and consumption, gender diversity, all those things they cover in SDG 17. It's then future of mobility, how it is going to be, mostly like selfless, like a driverless self-driving cars, well-being, aging society, migration. This is mostly applicable for the Western economy where the population ages are going up. High-value manufacturing, this is interesting. So especially in India, China is also moving towards high-value meaning they don't want to do a simple assembly things. They wanted to be more creative in what they do. For example, it could be pharmaceutical sector, it could be aerospace sector, where whatever they do, the profit margin is very high with creative things. It's not repeating imitative things. It is coming out something new. So we are trying to do a lot of work on high-value manufacturing in the UK for developing curriculum for training people because there's a big shortage in the aerospace sector, especially Boeing, Airbus. They need a lot of skilled employees. Other thing is crisis management. I said every 3 years or 4 years there is going to be some disaster. So people need to know how to deal with disaster. So you need to be equipped to work on uncertain things. So that is also expected. So you should not do the routine things. If something goes wrong, how we are going to overcome those kind of challenges. So that is more important in future. So that is mostly an emergency things. And energy, water food nexus is a big deal. So water scarcity is going to go as a big in next 20 to 30 years. And also like many cities in India are going to go under sea in 20 years because of climate change or rise in temperature. That's a big threat to all of us. So Indian government want to understand a bit about oceans. So we also did a thematic analysis. What people is we looked at all the white papers from McKinsey, Accenture, Anderson, Boston consulting companies, plus those guys are think tanks for companies. Also a lot of research articles about employment, about pedagogy, about like we looked at all the Academy of Management Learning and Academy of Management Learning and Education journals. And we found out some of the top themes which emerged out of the analysis, which is analytics, artificial intelligence, automation, migration, supply chain. All these things came when we did a word cloud. So these are I am not reading all those things, but these are the common trends. If you could know some of if you can take some of the things what you know, if you get some certification as a graduate on big data analytics or knowing something on psychophysical system, which we call Internet of Things, or blockchain, if you could get some certification on how to write, develop, or just contextualize a cloud-based Amazon or an Oracle blockchains. So, which is a need of the hour, those kind of skill sets. Hyper-automation is customizing to the individual need. Okay, so that is like we talked a lot about mass customization, now we are trying to talk about personalized customization. So if you go and buy a shoe, we buy based on the standard size, number 8, number 9, number 7, which is standard one, which will not exactly fit our feet. Each of our feet are different, having different shape. So in the US, they came with a technological solution where there was an agreement between Adidas and Foot Locker. Foot Locker is a retailer like Skechers. This is a showroom. They sell the shoes. So Adidas gave a 3D printer. They installed 3D printer all the showroom. Whenever you enter a showroom, they will scan your feet. If you wait 30 minutes, they'll make a sole which exactly fits with your feet. And in 30 minutes, you'll get a customized shoe for you which exactly fits your feet. So that is what we call hyper customization, which we are trying to customize for each and every individual. In India, if you want to do that, a 1.3 billion population, we have to do for all. So which is going to be a highly variable, complex activity for companies to do.
Smart contracts.
Yeah, smart contracts is mostly like the transactions are being automated with blockchain. So it is like you are going to write a code in a way that you are going to capture the transaction between two parties. If something is wrong, if something goes wrong, there is a conflict of interest, how to deal with this, all those will be coded. So there is no need of intermediary to mediate. So directly it will be between two parties where they can check, they can agree. If there is a conflict, they are how to deal with those things can be done. So mostly this is for companies where they try to buy stuff from the suppliers. That is what we call smart contracts. So also there are other technology. Most technology is coming upfront, which is artificial intelligence. Immersive experience is mostly like what we buy. During pandemic, we started buying a lot of stuff from Amazon, Flipkart. So, but we lost the shopping experience. When you go to the mall, we can sense, we can see, we can feel the aroma, flavor, things like that. But all those things are missing. Now they are building with the Meta. They are building all those using avatars. They are building this kind of experience, virtual experience, where you can feel you are being at mall and you do the shopping from home using various platforms. So supply chain finance is also an important thing, especially with cryptocurrency transactions, which is picking. We need to have some awareness of what is happening there. Again, analytics, predictive analytics. There are different analytics. Mostly, you might have exposed to descriptive analytics, but people are interested more on predictive analytics because all these platforms, like I don't know whether we have in India. In UK, we do have something called Auto.com, Octodo.com. Those people exactly predict what you are going to buy in 24 hours with 19% accuracy based on your search. And unknowingly, you might have accepted a lot of cookies. Based on your search, they will know that you are going to buy a certain item from them in the next 24 hours. So that kind of predictive tool they have. So climate change, I mentioned about surplus supply chain. This is a big issue right now. Especially electronic waste, they are simply throwing away once the product becomes end of life. How to take back, recycle or remanufacture and reuse, that is a big challenge, especially for developing economies. So I will try to run through the importance of it, what we mean by innovation analytics a bit for you to specialize on certain things and then some certain technology aspects. Then I will end up my talk, right? And I will try to answer your question. I think we are going with time. We are fine with time, right? So innovation, so if you do this Google Ngrams, if you do Google Ngram, you can type here. Innovation, machine learning, big data, artificial intelligence. So we did this for 1900 to 2020 kind of. So when you do 2020, it will come on 2019. What we found out, still companies are interested to innovate. It's mostly cost-intensive process, a lot of risk involved. But if you could innovate, you could make more profit in whatever you do. It could be process, product, whatever it is. Or if you are going to lead a workforce, for example, Google is leading because of innovation. So innovation is a key. So think about innovation. Whatever you do it something differently. It has to be not same like others. How we are going to be different from others. That is important. So when we started doing this, we found out like we were trying to write a book last year, I think a couple of days ago. We thought, okay, there are a lot of studies on innovation which is based on qualitative research, what is happening with analytics, why people are not using data to innovate. So that's a question came to us, so we thought this book is going to be released soon. we have completed this to understand what is happening, how data could be used for various sectors. Okay. So what I mean by innovation analytics is it's an intersection between the three things. We are looking at the new data that is coming through social media, text-based, voluminous data, all kind of like, for example, if you, Amazon have like billions of data about each customer, what they do. So how to handle this? How to use conventional or unconventional tool to handle those kind of data? So that is a key thing. Then analytics is mostly we look at AI, artificial intelligence, and then how this could support radical innovation, not incremental. It's more about what we are trying to come up something altogether new. How this data could support companies to come with new ideas. So we also we were very curious to know what companies right now do to generate ideas. So they do a lot of questionnaire studies. So they market research. So they say, oh, we do market research. We go to customer, ask people what they think. Then from them we will learn and innovate. But nobody said that they will look at social media or Facebook or LinkedIn or Twitter to understand what customers say. When they buy, whether they express happiness or anger, when they buy, there is a frustration, when they buy certain things, those things they never look at it. So mostly this is from McKinsey, Accenture says, most of the companies they engage consultants to collect ideas. And most of the companies they use market research still. And most of the companies are also using in-house customer data. Some says they look at Amazon search and Google Trends for reviews of what customers say about the product. And others say that analysis of competitive landscape, and others says like technology, packaging, advancement, mostly using third party, they collect data. So this is conventionally people collect data, but minimum they didn't say anything how to deal with new kind of data which is emerging right now through social media platforms. So why companies want to innovate? Some of the facts here in terms of new product failure rates are very high. Also the product life cycle has shrunk a lot. So every 1 year Apple is launching a new product. So for example, Intel has a timeline. Every 3 months they have to come out with a new product. So the innovation is critical for them. For that, our understanding, can they use some of the available data, secondary data from social media platforms? Okay, so which captures all these behavioral aspects of human being, users, etc. So I'm just going to show like some of the things for the management graduate, how like patience is important. So this guy, I don't know whether you know this guy, Goss. Most of you wouldn't know this. Goss, it's a normal curve. He uses normal distribution curve. He says how to distribute the errors. So he was the one. So even though he was very patient to tell the world that if others would reflect on mathematical truths as deeply and continuously as I have, they would make my discoveries. They can understand what he does. So it's more about patience, determination. So even though like in 1700 people started using how to distribute errors like Laplace and others, but this guy is the one who was continuously doing a lot of research, and in the astronomy you develop this normal curve which still we are using to distribute the errors. So this slide is to tell you that determination, focus, being patient in what you do is important. Okay, don't rush for things. And you all know this guy, Einstein, and he says, this is very, very important to know for all of us. If he has an hour to solve a problem, he would use first 55 minutes to ask the right questions. So you will ask only the right questions. So 5 minutes only you will try to use it to solve that question. So the asking right question is a critical challenge. Okay? I have one more. This is a like American statistician called John 2K, and he says like finding right answer to right question is important. So most of us, what we are trying to do is we are putting lot of effort to find the right answer to a wrong question. So which is not good. And this is about like how in 18th century London used data pretty much well to identify the source of cholera. So they didn't use any scientific procedure. They systematically analyzed the data and find out what is causing cholera. Okay, it's not because of like COVID. Like COVID, it is spreading through air by surface and it transmits from one person to another. So cholera was in 19th century. Therefore, it was like a serious kind of a like pandemic. Many people lost their life. So they wanted to find out. Their initial theory is it is spreading through air. But one guy was no. This guy wanted to analyze the data. Next slide. So he looked at where the number of deaths are, and he tried to plot the number of deaths, where it happens, and then there was a conventional thought that there was like serious problem from the water. There's a microbial actions happening in water which is causing people dying. So it is spreading from water to air. That's what kind of theory they had at the mind. But this guy looked, analyzed, and they found out in particular street, Broad Street, there was number of deaths were very high. Also, he found out that wherever there is a well, during that time they pump the water from the well, like catchment area. So all the catchment area had more deaths. Near the catchment area, there were more deaths. So he found out there is something related to water. And next slide. So what happened is he plotted all these sources where there is a water where it is spreading this disease, and he finally found out that through data that this particular street well is the major cause of the problem, and he shut down this well, supplying water from this well. Certainly in the next few days the spread of cholera has been stopped. So he was saying cholera is spreading only through water, and this water is, when they supply this water from this well, people get infected and they are losing their life. So why I am showing this is scientifically there were a lot of study, investigations were on, but this guy using data is able to find a solution and stop the spread of this disease. So data analytics is key. So CEOs are struggling to make the decision because they can't use the conventional kind of IT system to make decisions like Oracle, SAP, whatever we have. So they need to think about how to use AI tools, getting data from multiple sources, we call triangulation. So how to collect multiple data to come up with the decision. For CEOs, decision making is critical. If they make a wrong decision, it is going to hurt the company. So some of the examples like how data supported decision making in various companies. So in UPS, this is UPS like FedEx, like a courier service in the US. So they optimized with the data. So they said, don't take left turn. If you take only right turn, you can reduce the usage of fuel. Okay, so that is a big decision based. They analyzed all the routes and they come out with the decision that all the drivers only need to take right turn, no left turn. Okay, that is a big benefit. Likewise, Google, we all know sponsorship. They make billions of money using sponsorship. Based on your search behavior, they will promote the product. That's what we call sponsored search. From that, they make a lot of money. Walmart, they use pretty much this again, most of them from Harvard Business Review, where companies are reporting how they benefited based on data. So Walmart, based on customer loyalty, they made a lot of profit. So if you make a wrong decision, for example, Chevron is an energy company, by a wrong decision they lost $100 million. So whenever you are taking a managerial beginner, middle level or top level, decision making is critical. So collaboration helps. Understanding data is important. So whenever you ask a data analyst how long you take to analyze, clean the data, pre-processing, they say 80% of the time they spend in pre-processing, cleaning the data. So that is important. So be patient in terms of dealing with data. So this is what we call Delta, Data Enterprise Orientation, Leadership, Target, Analysis. So these are the skills and capabilities needed. This is reported again in Harvard Business, MIT's Loan Management Review. So if you can tell good stories with data and explain what is happening in common sense terms, that is going to be a big benefit for companies. So this is some of the examples, like how Google making money with data, Facebook, Amazon, they are making $336 billion through advertising, digital advertising, understanding data, especially. So as a management graduate, you don't think that we don't want to do with data, you need to make a decision. For making decision, you need data. So again, so they predict this is in the next 5 years, data mining and modeling is going to be enormous. And especially if we are selling products, how we present our product to customers, how I am going to present myself, how I am going to attract them to buy the product, that is important, rather than selling. How I am going to present, that is important. So again, this is based on the search, we call semantic mediation, which is nothing but plotting a knowledge graph to understand what you search in multiple sites, and they will connect and tell you that what you are going to buy, what is your interest, what you want to buy. So whatever I have shared to you is mostly about bit about analytics for decision making for managers. If you want to become a global employees, you need to make good decisions. Okay. So technology front, I'll try to run through few technologies. I don't know whether you have heard about Industry 4.0. Different country has different terminology. So this is from Germany. US has smart manufacturing. China they say manufacturing 2025. I don't know in India what they say, but it is mostly about building intelligence in machine and making machines to interact on their own without human intervention. So machine-to-machine interaction, facilitating machine-to-machine interaction, that is going to be the future. So how we are going to handle those machines interaction? So that is a critical for us in terms of technology. So this is I explained to you about Adidas and 3D printing shoe, what they did in Foot Locker, how they scan, they make unique shoes. So I'm not running the video. So this is mostly about hyper customization. I mentioned like what people they are trying to do. First, in the past they used to do make to stock. Now it is they say engineer to order. So each and every one is different. So we need to understand and come up with their own product. So as a manager, how we are going to understand people. That's a great thing to do. This is about 3D printing, the shoe example I gave. There are a lot of drawbacks. Whatever I said is good things. There are negative sides for 3D printing too. Again, IP ownership, intellectual property ownership is a big thing to deal with. Also, there is a lot of liability issues, like people may steal your design, they may reuse, abuse, reuse. So those things are possible. How to prevent that, nobody knows right now. And if something goes wrong, who to be blamed? Who is the owner? Like if I'm using 3D printer, I'm buying a design from one party, I'm making it my home. So if something goes wrong, who should I blame for? Whether the manufacturer of the printer or the designer, we don't know. So far we are buying a product. If something goes wrong, if I buy a car, if it is not good, I blame the company. I go to the company to look, to ask them to sort it out. Whereas if you use a 3D printing, then that is a problem. You are making on your own things. So no liability. So the other technologies of blockchain. You all know blockchain, right? How it works, what it is, right? So would you like to see a video? There is a video, but I'm not sure. It's a distributed ledger system. It is basically that is going to revolutionize the world. Yeah, can you play this one? I don't know, you might have seen this video. This is again from YouTube. You can see this. But this is a very fantastic video made by an Indian about understanding blockchain. is a difficulty, leave it. That's fine.
Just
Sound. So this video is about like tell you the basics of how they are applying this technology to different fields. Here they are talking about how to apply in a supply chain.
How do you know that the coffee that you bought is actually fair trade? How do you know which one? How do you know which one is real? How do you know that this t-shirt has not been made in a sweatshop with a simple tag added at the end? You simply don't. In order for you to be certain, you would need a record of all transactions and events of the life of an item. That would be possible with blockchain. What's a blockchain? That's a fancy word. Blockchain is related to Bitcoin, the cryptocurrency. Initially, it was made for financial transactions, but it is now revolutionizing the business world, especially supply chain. It's just like Google Sheets. With regular transactions, there is a middleman like the bank that registers this transaction, a centralized system like Microsoft Word. But with Bitcoin, transactions are between user to user. So when there's a transaction, the information is recorded on a shared ledger or block, and these blocks are linked together to form a blockchain like a shared Google Doc. Transaction accuracy is driven by the fact that consensus creates truth. In a blockchain database, every participant or node maintains a copy of the shared ledger. Each transaction on the blockchain is recorded in computer code showing who the parties are, transaction details, and timestamps that each containing the unique math-based encrypted signature. This digital signature is key as it allows each block of information to be securely connected to all the rest. It's this system of full transparency and connectedness that lends the blockchain its trust and credibility. This connection provides an audit trail of every transaction that's ever occurred in a system. So if there were an unauthorized change, each node is notified and we can see where it took place. They then would agree to recognize the change as valid or reject it. Again, transparency and consensus combine to make the blockchain system virtually tamper-proof. Today, your data is stored in silos, just like a Microsoft Word file and blockchain. Your data will be stored publicly or pseudo-anonymously in a shared database. Now with blockchain, you can track the chronological history of the organic copy share that you bought. You cannot temper or cheat because everyone using the system is watching you. The blockchain revolution isn't going to happen overnight, but it is expected to change our lives, like the wheel did, or the electric motor, and the internet itself. I believe that this blockchain will be the next industrial revolution.
So there is a bit of hype in this technology, but still it is widely used as a pilot project in many companies. It is successful. IBM, Walmart, they are using this technology to track and trace. They are managing their flow of goods, spreading this very well with this technology. So there are a lot of things are happening globally to track and trace to make authenticity of where it comes from, so that company, if something goes wrong, can take and handle those kind of issues. So I'm just not going to. So I think you understood from the video what blockchain is. It's a distributed ledger technology where there are a group of members who will try to access what is happening and approve every stage. Each block will have an information connected to who did what time, and what is the activity. So those things will be recorded and shared with the multiple parties included in the network. So this is another technology which you need to aware of. So if you look at the Amazon or Oracle, they have a specific kind of cloud-based blockchain application where you can contextualize writing a chain code. Only contextualizing the chain code. So you need to know how to contextualize those for different problems. Or if you are trying to develop a solution, how you are going to contextualize. That is your role. If you can master that, you will get easily job. So in Europe, there is a big vacuum, like need of manpower to write chain codes for this blockchain transactions. So the idea is to expose you the analytics, the technology bit. So whichever you don't want to master everything, it is not possible. At least you need to have a broader skill sets if you want to become a global employee. So I would say, so the question is AI, blockchain. She's asking whether it's a challenge or an opportunity. I would say it's an opportunity. So anything if you say see as an opportunity, if you can be a change agent, that is going to be, you are going to be like more optimistic in doing things. So let's, I think my view is to take every problem is having some, for us it's not a problem, it's an opportunity.
So how are we going to tackle data breach problems?
I don't get your question fully. Data problem, which problem?
Data breach problems. How are we going to tackle them?
Breach problem. What do you mean breach
So
problem?
data manipulation.
Okay. So you're asking about how to handle the data.
We have to make sure that our data is not misused by other companies or countries, for example.
Breach. Okay. So yeah, now they have like different countries have different data controllers. Plus they do have a GDPR in Europe. We call General Data Protection Regulation. We need to be very careful who we are going to share the data, whether we have a consensus to share the data, and where to deposit the data once the project ends. All those things they have a regulation. So it prevents abuse and misuse. But still, cyber attack things are happening. People are stealing data. For example, government NHS data has been stolen once by Russia. So it happens, but now they are coming with more governance mechanism to protect all those things.
Thank you, sir.
Any questions? So this is an eye-opener thing. Like you are capable of getting a global jobs, but you need to understand bit about these emerging techniques, technologies, how to handle as a manager, how to make decision. That is important. How you have to be more proactive, strategic, how you are going creative, innovative. So those things are important.
So in a market like India where 100% of the market is disorganized, so how can we implement this kind of market strategy to make this market organized?
So if you can say, for example, in India there are a lot of apps, they develop a lot of apps to integrate the disintegrated things. So a lot of sectors are informal, but these kind of digital platforms, if you as an aggregator, could organize or could integrate with the disintegrated market. One example I have seen the last mile food delivery, which has been very well integrated right now. Okay, so which all the Zomato, all these things are coming. So which is very good. They are trying to integrate the restaurant with the restaurant. So like if you can come up with new apps where if you think where it is missing, you can be a change maker.
What are the various platform or sources where we can apply for the jobs in UK apart from Indeed UK or last year?
Yeah, Indeed UK is the most commonly used local job community. Then Glassdoor is for global companies. In addition, there is something called what is that like? We say Jobs UK. Jobs UK. There's one. So it's generic. It includes multiple disciplines. And it also includes academia. It also includes different sectors. Jobs UK. If you register, they will send you regular emails to your email ID. They trigger you what are jobs available for particular discipline, technology or analytics or managerial jobs. They will let you know. So simply Google Jobs UK, you will get jobs.
So what are the hiring procedure over there? Like in India, it depends on various stages. Is that the same for there as well or different?
Pretty much it's two stages. I would say like initially they will do the assessment through standard mode, what they do for like, then they will ask you for an interview before time. The two assessment is mostly they will ask you to go to an assessment center where they will assess your basic skill sets. Then interview is mostly about the job oriented role description. They will check. See, more or less it is same. Now I think India is also becoming global. If you go to any local company, the diversity is very high. So the thing is how we are going to determine what thing we are going to do something new. So at the beginning they will be giving a lot of training to you how to deal with multiple culture people, how we think something what we are doing is right, but it may affect others, how to orient that. So mostly there will be immersive training, a lot of incubators they will try to run for new employees, for you to orient towards the work practice. I think that is not a big deal. So only thing is the difference I would say is the recognition, whether you do something good or it's not good, you made an attempt, you failed, the recognition, they appreciate. In India, we don't do that. HRM also need to use their technology. So HRM is changing. So we do a lot of, we talk about people analytics, how to understand people using social media, how they behave externally, how they behave internally. So for that HR need to know to collect data. They should not depend on others to collect data or to listen to their decisions. So we need to be mostly like independent in terms of understanding that handling technology, handling data. So this is applicable for strategy, marketing, everyone. They are thinking about how to integrate analytics and technology into their development. Whether it could be HRM. So we talk about people analytics. A lot in the UK, we have a separate degree course to train people on people analytics. Behavioral issues, kind of like people management, how they maintain the relationships, how to identify whether they are creative, all those things they use in data. Sorry. No, sir, the degree never matters, whether you get PGDM or MBA. If you have certification, you have gone through the procedure in getting basic acumen, whatever needed in terms of skill set. Plus, if you can demonstrate through extra effort in terms of these skill sets through certifications or through experience, that is all okay. So, but if you are only like going through the certification, still the external mindset is towards IIMs, IITs, and not other institutions. but you need to prove that you are capable and equivalent to them by doing this extra certifications and work experience.
So what are the main supply chain issues companies face when they are operating globally?
There are many challenges, that is complexity, understanding culture, contextualizing their practices to the emerging countries where they are trying to mobilize or move their operations. In terms of people's mindset, especially in China, earlier logistics, when they say they think it is a surprise, it is not the case, it is more than that. So those things took a lot of time. There are those challenges for MNCs, especially US-based companies, when they want to reshore or offshore things, so they find a lot of difficulty.
So you are also talking about circular supply chain. So in this market like India, it is not yet developed. So what about the other markets?
So US is a multi-billion-dollar market in circular supply chain. So they make a lot of money, especially on automotive cars. Once they when it becomes obsolete, they know how to take back. Mostly they are recycling and remanufacturing. They are making value out of the end of their product. So here they are disposing simply without.
Apart from the government policy, what else can help for this circular market?
No, other than government, a lot of private companies are coming forward to create a circular supply chains. So because they can make a lot of money out of it. So in US and China, they are doing a lot on that front. Europe, not much, but India is zero in that.
How can it be developed?
Correct, regulatory sustainable. Because we are like, there is a scarcity of raw materials. So iPhone we are using still, they take minerals from Congo, Democratic Republic of Congo. So for the mines, I don't know how long they will take the sand to make this integrated circuit chips. If it is depleting, then we have to work with the existing material what we can. So there is a scarcity of material, so people are thinking how to take back and reuse the existing things.
So as we know, blockchain is very secure and very accurate for the. And my question is, as a US, can other technology already do this just as a faster and accurate?
There is no other, so they used RFID, they used barcoding, then RFID came, but now they find this has more sophisticated facilities than RFID, so people are moving towards this blockchain.
Sir, regarding sir, when we are talking about blockchain, especially in supply chain, there is data immutability with blockchain. And in supply chain, we find that there is a lot of data that has to be fed by people in the blockchain, and especially in a scenario where we are talking about Indian scenario where we have different players in supply chain and they are not using common ERPs and most of the data is manual. There is a problem of data quality, and once that data quality is not maintained in supply chain and in blockchain supply chain, and in blockchain the problem is that you cannot fix the data, you can just update the block, and updating the block means spending a lot if you're frequently updating it. So don't you think data quality matters a lot in supply chain blockchain?
That's true. No, I agree. I'm not disagreeing with any. So input is important, like what goes in will come out. But I think there is a lot of training. For example, people cannot fabricate or cannot enter like false data every time. Okay? So there is a limit. So I think they're training people to there should be a trust in terms of like who enters the data, and also people can find out when all are seeing what is happening here. If you're saying every time I'm doing right, people will have a suspicion on you. So that is how they are trying to do. But there is absolutely most exposed on that part.
Because there was a study of North Carolina University that only 15%, that is including senior supply chain professionals, are including that are feeding the correct, accurate data in the blockchain in supply chain. So it is not just the part of false data, but wrong data or the clean data or the data quality that we are feeding into the blockchain. So right now, according to me, blockchain supply chain is on the basic and it needs to be developed in terms of quality of
It
data.
needs time. It needs a lot of time, and there are a lot of pilot projects ongoing. But data feeding, we have to be honest, and we have to trust somebody to do that. So otherwise, everything goes wrong.
Correct.
So yeah, so I will try to end up my talk. I don't want to take much of your time. So this is an example where IBM and Walmart trying to track and trace mango in US. Mango, they are not quite well consumed like India. So when they buy a mango, they would like to see a good mango. So normally mango will have bugs inside, we know that. But they don't know, they think it is a faulty product. So when they want to trace back from which lot the bugs are coming in, so they were trying to take 6 days to identify which part of Africa. So mostly Africa used to export mango to US. So they will find out whether it is in Ivory Coast or Ghana, which part of Africa is supplying this mango. So what they did with this technology, they are able to easily track and trace in 2 seconds where it comes from, how to avoid that in the future. Okay?
Sir, blockchain is all about tracking the product, or as a beginner BA students, which topics we cover in blockchain to get a deep knowledge of that, and how can we implement this technology in the real life scenarios? Because blockchain is all about tracking the product or finding the solutions of this, but how can we get this type of document? How can we implement the blockchain in real life scenarios?
So the thing is, like, there are a number of opportunities. So one is like, look at Oracle and Amazon workloads, like the AWS. So there is a lot of opportunity they give how to customize the chain rules. So you need to know that first. Then if you could apply to any kind of challenges in the companies where you can do a pilot where you can track and trace, that is fair enough for you to prove that you are capable of doing this. Thanks. So I'm not going to talk about the technology benefits. So if you are interested, so this is not a promote or book, to tell you that we have written on multiple, this is an authored book. We wrote on this again 2 years ago, we wrote this in 2020 during pandemic to understand how this technology could benefit different sectors like manufacturing, retail, healthcare, etc. So then these technologies also in it, not only blockchain, in it to know about Internet of Things, cloud computing. So hyper customization is taking place in pharmacy also. The paracetamol tablet, painkiller, what we take is a generic medicine. It is not a customized medicine. So now GSK like companies are trying to customize those drugs which are suitable to your body. So each one of us are different. So how to make a unique formula? That is where these technologies are helping, especially to understand the customer a bit, Internet of Things. This is mostly last mile delivery, where Google was trying to invent driverless cars. There was an accident, now they are trying to work on it. But in UK they approved driverless trucks to go on roads in 2025. So they have separate lanes. We all know that the accident happens only because of human being. So when it becomes more automated, we can reduce accidents. That is true. So that's what they're aiming for. So because again, other reason in the UK is there is no drivers, truck drivers. So they want to go for an automated trucks. Okay. So managing trucks without like cyber attacks, those things are important area for management graduates to look at. And this one I mentioned, like the virtual experience, like avatars, Facebook, how they are going to bring in the experience at home, real mall experience when you buy from home. So there's a lot of developments are happening. You need to know about augmented reality, virtual reality a bit as a manager. You need to know about this technology. Yeah, so with this I'm done. So my objective is to introduce some of the ongoing things where as a management graduates, if you have some awareness, if you can able to do some work, it is easy for you to get a global job. Thank you.
So thank you so much, sir, and I'm pretty sure that our students are able to bridge a lot of knowledge gaps from today's lecture, and of course, they, a lot of myths have been busted about working abroad. So, of course, I like to thank Sir. Thank you so much, Sir, for giving us your precious time. And now I would like to take this opportunity to call on stage Dr. Ruchigar to deliver the word of thanks. Ma'am, please. And the felicitation ceremony. A huge round of applause, everyone. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, ma'am. And so over to you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Sonika. Good afternoon, all present. It's really an honor and privilege to propose vote of thanks for today's event. First of all, I'm highly thankful and grateful to Dr. Nachiappan Subramanian to take out time on such a short notice and deliver such an insightful lecture for all the students as well as for the faculty members as well. And I'm really sure that my students present here are definitely going to use these motivational words plus the global opportunities which Sir has suggested to use in their present as well as in their future interviews. Right? And I'm also grateful to our President, Mr. Manohar Tehrani Sir, to always encourage us to have such grand activities. Grateful thanks to our Group Director, Dr. Vandana Arora Sethi Madam, to have this vision and constantly support us to conduct such global exposure and to conduct such glorious events. I'm highly thankful to our Director, Dr. Tiwari Sir, Dr. Ashok Tiwari Sir, for his constant guidance. And definitely my sincere thanks goes to Dr. Kriti Gulati Madam to be a consistent support to arrange the complete event. And definitely highly thankful to all my colleagues, the student team present here, and also all the members who have been behind the screen, to make this complete event such success. Really thankful to the complete team. And definitely highly thanks to all the students present here for attending the session so enthusiastically, and I'm sure you are definitely going to use in your future things as well as in present things. So thank you so much everyone. Thank you so much.